Success ain't a straight line, they flip their feet. Turn setbacks to comebacks, now they're straight greats. From the grind to the shine, watch the pros improve. On unconventional money, it's the next gen groove. Genius minds outside the lines of unconventional money, we rise and shine. Unconventional money moves, where success rewrites the rules.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back. I have Iris with us here today, and we were just chatting. Iris just got off a cruise, and on that cruise, she was considering possibly working on that cruise, but after careful consideration, she is going to decline working on a cruise boat because of the utter chaos that happens on there. And Iris loves to honor people with uplifting, interactive social events. She loves to create unity, social and communication skills, and help people by giving them awards and helping others discover their evolving genius, are just a couple of the things. So happy to have Iris on, and all of that is super unconventional. So when she reached out, I was like, yeah, come on, let's chat about it. So happy to have her here. And so how did you stumble upon this? Because I mean, this isn't something I ever saw like a college degree for or anything like that when I went to school.
Well, when I was young, I found that I had a really big heart and I wanted to honor people. And I found that I could do it with a real open heart if I did it anonymously. So I started writing little notes and little wonderful cards and stuff and giving them to people anonymously, kind of like some people do with secret friend things. And that's kind of a lost art. But anyway, I created a whole bunch of honoring awards that I send. I've been sending them around the world since, I think, 2002 to honor people. And what's fun about them is that they're in print form. They're little 5x7s with a colorful frame. And people really love getting something in the mail. And when it's an honoring award, it's really fun. And I advocate for people sending them anonymously. So when you get an honoring award in the mail and you don't know who sent it, like if you get a loving kindness award or a childlike wonder award, you have to sit and think about all the wonderful people you know who could have sent it. So it's a really beautiful opportunity for people to feel, appreciated, encouraged, honored, and to wonder about all the wonderful people in their life.
So the concept is I send someone a card that has a positive impact in my life, but anonymously. What is it about the anonymous side of it that is that you came up with? Because most people want to get credit when they give a compliment or get credit when they donate money and get their name on a building.
Exactly. And there's something so powerful about the surprise. There really is. And like I said, you have to sit and wonder, well, who would send me, a Childlike Wonder Award or a Valuable Volunteer Award? And sometimes it's nice to know that someone sent it, but it's nice to do it anonymously. And it teaches people how to give unconditionally, how to share unconditional love, frankly, in a very simple, straightforward, and they're in writing. You can touch them. People can read them over and over again. And senior citizens really love them, especially those in nursing homes. And people post them, people pass them on and share them because they don't have their name on them. A lot of caregivers love them, and they'll can't wait to pass it on to another honorary caregiver.
Pass it on, like using the same card or doing a new card?
Same card, because they don't have the names on them. They're just 5x7. They've got really pretty borders, and it's really wonderful because they can pass them on. They receive them anonymously. They kind of grab the spirit of the whole secret surprise. What a pleasure. And oftentimes they learn about anonymous giving, and they can't wait to pass it on to somebody else who deserves an honorary caregiver award or a valuable volunteer award. And that makes me happy.
So the idea is to continuously pay it forward and have this go on and on and on and on until forever, essentially.
That's really true. And people do share them. People do pass them on. And it really means a lot to them to have a gift to give as well as a gift to receive. And there's something about getting something in the mail besides your bills. It's just, people don't send cards as much, and cards are great, but sometimes a gift that you can pass on like that is really lovely.
And what was it like? Was there some sort of event or something that gave you the idea to start doing this, or some sort of action like someone did for you and you're like, oh, this is cool?
Actually, there was. I was in a women's spiritual group in Sun Valley, Idaho back in the early 90s, and one of my friends was a school teacher. And she came to the women's group in tears about how hard it was for some of these elementary school kids because somebody had to go live with grandma, somebody else's parents were out to lunch on drugs and alcohol, and she was beside herself. And for some reason, the next morning, I wrote a Gifted and Talented Child Award. Haven't changed a word of it in all these years. And of course, being the teacher, she had their perfect names and addresses. So I sent out about a dozen to kids in the elementary school at Hemingway Elementary School in the Sun Valley area. And she called me like 4 days later and said, "You won't believe what happened. Some of them brought it to school." She said, A, it gave them something positive to focus on. B, it raised their self-esteem. And C, the mystery, this secret was so wonderful. Grandma didn't send it. The school didn't send it. The church didn't send it. And it was just so exciting to watch the childlike wonder that really happened with these kids. And all of my awards that I sell on my Etsy shop, which is called Evolving Genius Awards, all of the funding goes toward Gifted and Talented Child Awards for children that I send for free all the time, and my honorary Caregiver of Light awards for caregivers. And caregivers call me crying the most because somebody sent them an anonymous award and it touches them so deeply because it's so hard day in and day out, right? Being a caregiver.
Yeah, and so you donate all the money?
Well, what I do is I use the money that I get and I send free awards to people. So somebody can say, "Oh, I know a child either who really deserves it for whatever, whether they're super gifted and talented or they're having a really hard time, or a caregiver." So people contact me all the time and I send awards for free. Otherwise, people can pay a few dollars and buy them on Etsy, and I will send them anonymously or with a gift note.
So essentially, if I wanted to send a random, not a random person, someone I know, an anonymous compliment,
Yes.
you like create it on my behalf? I create it? Like, how does that process work?
Well, people just order them from my Etsy shop. It's called Evolving Genius Awards, and they find one that they like. Maybe it's a lifelong learning award, and they'll say, "Okay, please send this anonymously to this person." And so it comes from anonymousexpressions.com, from a P.O. box in Oregon. And it's really, really fun when people get it. It's a very pleasant, wonderful surprise. And again, they're little 5x7s. They've got colorful borders. I've had them all printed up. And if they want, they can frame them and pass them on. I used to do the really big ones, Joshua, but then I found out that people wouldn't frame them. They wouldn't hang them up, but they do the little 5x7s without the name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's more of a
5x7s are much easier
conversation
to put on the refrigerator or find a
Yeah.
frame that you have laying around that you haven't used yet.
Exactly. And people are so modest sometimes.
So how did you get to a point to set yourself up in order to give back like you're giving back now? Because obviously right now you're giving, you're not really taking anything from this. So like someone might be asking like, well, how could I get to a point in life where I could do something like that?
Well, for me, doing the event entertainment, I make good money as an event entertainer. I have these honoring tribute wonderful events where I go out and I help people with some keywords, some beginning sentences, some fun game names. And so they can go around the circle and honor people for graduations, retirements, birthdays, different milestones. So I have several event entertainment programs and I make good money doing those. And I love sending the awards because it's affordable for me and it's so much fun. It brings me joy. It's been the greatest hobby ever for me.
What's the fun game? The fun word game?
You mean the fun game names?
Yeah, the fun game name.
Oh, I have a whole lot of those. So like favorite humble pie, universal wingnut is mine most of the time. Poetic justice, plant nurturer. It's just really fun for people to pick a game name that reflects who they are when people get together in a group. And when I do my Evolving Genius honoring improv for pubs, especially when in parties where there's alcohol, sometimes people don't want you to know their real name. So it's kind of fun. It's like, oh, you get to call me miracle worker, or you get to call me healing presence or whatever. So it's kind of nice that way. It gives people a little bit of anonymity in public places.
So we give each other pseudo names, and what happens after that with the with the game?
So I have 66 story prompts. And I consider them humanitarian or visionary because they're big picture. You know, it's so funny because my definition of a visionary is one who is inspired and haunted by humanitarian ideals and endeavors. Yes, that would be me. So I have all these great story prompts like voted most likely to be the first person to show up with helping hands to serve a caregiver, or being the first person to show up and volunteer. And some of them are funny. I have funny prompts, I have serious prompts, but most of them are big picture positive prompts. And then I have like 90 key words. I call them wisdom words that represent our values, you know, love, trust, truth, joy, honesty, adventure, all of those great words. And I have beginning sentences. And it makes it easy for people to make up an honoring story about the other person. And people love improv. They love spontaneous improv, and storytelling is wonderful fun. And, you know, to be honest with you, what I love about it too is that honoring and storytelling are both time-honored peacemaking traditions around the world in most all cultures. And that really matters to me. And I love it that my programs are getting translated into other languages.
Wow, that's cool. And you developed this like yourself? So it's like a whose line is it anyway meets like ad libs sort of deal with a humanitarian feel.
Yes, like, well, and it's so funny because I'm such a writer and award-winning poet and all that fun jazz. But people love Mad Libs too. Are you familiar with Mad Libs? Is that what you're thinking of?
Yeah, like it says like put in a adjective or a verb or a noun.
So I've made a whole bunch of those. I actually have some free on my anonymousexpressions.com website. So that's kind of how I started. I started writing them for kids and for grandkids, and I have some available in my Etsy shop. Probably my favorite one is May I Date Your Precious Daughter.
Oh man, I
Right.
need to get that one.
It's really fabulous. And it plants those good seeds about being responsible, where you're going to take her, when you're going to bring her home, asking permission from the parents. And it's got a funny thing too, where it says something like, even though I have blank hair and big ears, I really want her to like me. So they're kind of fun. But so I love Mad Libs and I love improv. And improv is huge. It's fun. Everybody around the world loves it. I add the honoring, which gives a whole different meaning to it. And people find that it's easy to honor other people once they get the hang of it. And once they have some of the simple resources like the keywords and the beginning sentences, it all starts out with the fun game names and keeps it fun.
Yeah, that's super cool. Like who are you doing these events with? Is it like a specific kind of person? Is it
Yes.
everyone?
Pretty much everyone. Well, so the honoring tributes for milestone events, those are very family oriented and they're very simple. And those are for, you know, birthdays, retirement parties, graduations, any kind of a milestone, a healing milestone, anytime we want to show up and honor people for a milestone. And that's what milestones are for, as far as I'm concerned, is to take the time to honor people's achievements. And then, of course, the noble storytellers and wisdom keepers, I have a Wisdom Keeper Award. Those are generally more geared to the senior citizens who have time and money, love to go to a nice hotel venue for a luncheon and practice doing honoring storytelling. They love it. They're good at it. And they write really cool prompts too. They look at my prompts and go, those are fun. I think I've got, you know, an idea of my own. And then it's kind of the same program, Evolving Genius Honoring Improv. That's more for the younger people that really resonate with the improv, because it's all about spontaneous honoring storytelling. That's what they do. That's what I care about. That's what I love. And that's what brings peace and unity with people. It establishes trust. And I'm telling you, the venues love it because the employers will have a long lunch with their people, and that people and their employees will start honoring each other. And it brings so much harmony to the workplace. It really makes me super happy to watch people look for the positive and find it. Right?
So you started off as a poet. You were saying you're an award-winning poet.
Well, my awards are all poetic. You know, they're kind of simple. They're super sweet, and they all rhyme. And even my sassy wake-up call awards, you know, like Drama Queen of the Universe, that are kind of fun, beneficial bullshitter. I've got some really fun ones. Those all rhyme too. And it's a little bit easier to kind of take a mindless moocher award to heart when you get it anonymously when it's written in a poetic style. And I do have an award called Honoring Builds a Circle of Nobility that I share usually at the end of my programs, which people really love. Because it does build a circle of nobility. When we learn how to honor other people, we become honorable ourselves.
Say that one more time, that was really important.
When we honor other people, we become honorable ourselves.
When we honor other people, we
Is
become
a very
honorable ourselves.
honorable thing to do, right? I mean, when you give people appreciation, encouragement, and support, and you honor them for their inner qualities and their achievements, it makes everybody look good and everybody feel good. And you know, my darling, about how positive emotions are so good for us. Laughter and joy. My tagline is, when we take our honoring, laughter, and applause seriously, we create everlasting happy memories together. That's what my programs
happy memories together.
Yeah. And everybody gets applause after they share an honoring story. It's just fun. It's uplifting and makes everybody look good and feel good. And that's healing. That's happiness. That's joy.
When did you first start? Like, what was your first event? Like, how did you evolve this into being what it is now? Because this is like a really cool idea, and a lot of people have really good ideas, and then those ideas never come to fruition, versus you've been able to make it happen.
Yes, thank you. So I kind of started with all of my Evolving Genius awards. I did an Evolving Genius honoring awards ceremony for my local community through the local theater group invited me. And what we did is we did a Google form where people could vote for who got what award, who got the Valuable Volunteer Award, who got the Loving Kindness, the Certificate of Sainthood, the Childlike Wonder Award. And it was so fun to be able to present those to people in our community. And I think that every Chamber of Commerce would love to do this to honor their people in their community. That program is a little bit more expensive because you have to buy the awards of honor that you present, where with the honoring tributes and the honoring storytelling, those are basically super affordable downloads. And I offer scholarship for students who can answer a few questions and send me a video about why they would love to be an event entertainer. And that makes me super happy.
Yeah. So, like, what was the first event that you did? Like, what was your first one, like, that you started doing these at? Like, what was your very first? I'm in front of an audience. We're going to do it now.
Yeah, my local theater group. It's called Zero Clearance Theater here in Oak Ridge, Oregon, where I live. And we've got a wonderful theater group, and they love doing improv. They love doing different things. And my community loves my awards.
So it started off with you finding other people that are in the arts first and working with them to get it started and get it out there.
It's so hard to say where I began. Where the honoring really changed my life, honestly, was many years ago. I was teaching a class in psycho-cybernetics, which was creative visualization back in the early 70s. And as an instructor, I could take any class for free, and I took a palmistry class. And I actually became a palmistry expert and did upscale party and event entertainment for many, many years. And I found that I was really good through the art of palmistry. I was really good at honoring people, picking out their incredible talents, skills, and abilities and encouraging them. And then I started doing the honoring awards. And then I started doing, some of these events for birthday parties when I'd show up for someone's 90th birthday and give them a Certificate of Sainthood Award, or lead a group in how can we honor this person with all of these beautiful honoring awards and beginning sentences. I mean, people just get what I am and what I give, and they invite me to show up, and it's just really expanded from there.
So this is something you go all over the country, all over the world doing now?
Not really. I live in Oak Ridge, Oregon, in a small town. I'm going to be starting to reach out more in Eugene. Mm-hmm. And I just really love doing it. So I retired about 5 or 6 years ago and created all of these event programs, primarily as a volunteer appreciation program. That's really how I started, was sharing the awards as volunteer appreciation events. So everyone, for example, who was a volunteer at our local food pantry, they got to pick the award for themselves to honor themselves as their own best friend.
Hmm.
and walk the red carpet and get their award. And it was just so much fun. You know, volunteers make the world go round. Without volunteers, so many wonderful things would not be possible. So I love volunteers. They're my tribe, and they're primarily the people that I created the events for, even though I'd had the awards and shared them for many, many years.
Gotcha. This is like the new adventure. This is like the next chapter of what you're currently doing. What was your background in prior to doing this? Like, is this something that you've always been working on the last? I mean, you said you started reading palmistry is reading palms, right?
It
So I mean, that
is.
was back in the 70s. So I mean, is that kind of when these thoughts started like slowly started trickling in to evolve into what it is now?
Yeah, that's when I started realizing that honoring people, I had a knack for it. And that's really what made me infamous. I mean, I worked for a lot of rich and famous people in Sun Valley. That I did all over the world for quite a long time. And I loved it. And I realized how important honoring really is. And then the honoring awards took off. And then, putting together these event programs. Because I have a lot of experience with working events, and I have simple contracts that people can hire other entertainers with, simple contracts, grassroots contracts for different venues and different clients. And I
Mhm.
just have created all of the details that I think people need to be able to go out and be event entertainers honoring people. And I'm telling you, when you see the little children honoring their parents, when you see the neighbors, when you see the employees honoring each other, it's a very beautiful thing. And it changes people when they start finding that positive stuff. And it's so fun, and it makes everybody look good. It just does, and feel good.
Honoring,
He's
honoring,
thinking.
honoring, honoring.
If I were to describe what honoring is for me, it's like those awards that I've written since and been sending around the world since 2002. Honoring is about offering people appreciation, encouragement, and support. That's really what they do. Whether that's a caregiver award, childlike wonder award. Do you want me to read one to you?
Yeah, let's get an example.
Okay, you can pick. I've got three right here. I've got a Wisdom Keeper Award, which is what I give to all the seniors who come to my Noble Storytellers and Wisdom Keepers events. I have a Childlike Wonder Award, which everyone loves, or a Loving Kindness Award. You pick.
Loving kindness. Let's hear it.
Okay, here we are. Loving kindness. This is a fun one. I like it. And I'm telling you, mothers, grandmothers, neighbors. So if you could imagine getting this in the mail with a nice little note that says it's being sent to honor you anonymously. Loving Kindness Award. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's got a pretty border around it that's all roses. It's quite lovely. Loving Kindness Award. We hereby honor your loving kindness. It is your nature to love, to be grateful, and thankfully to be kind. All this goodness blends so beautifully with your very sharp mind. Your love flows freely out to others from your vibrant soul. A spiritual loving kindness is your true nature's goal. Your love supports, nurtures, listens, and understands as universal love naturally flows and expands. Being a channel of love's grace is obviously self-fulfilling, and the glory of your presence is so very revealing. You are a clear voice for equality coming from inner quality. Your loving kindness opens your heart and shows you to be exceptionally smart.
Yeah, I could see how that could not make someone not smile. Like it's hard not to.
Well, and that's the whole idea behind it, And one time I had a neighbor whose husband had taken off with his young secretary, and she was so angry and so awful. And everybody in the neighborhood talked about how they felt sorry for her, but she had just turned into such a grump, and she was so unhappy. And we sent her an anonymous award, and we all watched her change. She had to wonder who out of the whole community and all of the neighbors might have sent that to her. And it gave her the boost and the lift, just like the Gifted and Talented Child Award did for all those children. And children, it's so sad. A lot of them have a really rough time at home, and they need something positive to focus on and something to build their self-esteem. They don't have a lot of control over the circumstances in their lives, right?
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to you can't consistently perform if you don't have like a positive view on yourself. Like if you don't believe like you're gonna do well, you're like, well, why should I even do this homework assignment? I'm just going to get a bad grade anyway.
Yep, self-fulfilling prophecy, man. We all have them. So, the more you can, and here's the beautiful thing. Here's the most wonderful thing I've learned, Joshua, and I feel so strongly about it. By honoring other people, we learn to honor ourselves. And then it becomes like this circle of honoring that really changes people's reality. They start looking for the good in other people to honor. When they know they've got these awards to give, they start looking, oh, I wonder, who has child life wonder? Lovable laughter is a really fun one. And it's really fun to find people who still have lovable laughter, for me and for other people to send these awards to.
Yeah. I mean, being kind is, I mean, you could selfishly be kind. There's people who are like kind selfishly, like, because you get so much back from it from being a nice person, which a lot of people don't understand that just being nice to people, you just never know how that may come back to you in a positive way versus if you're just, you know,
I hear you.
Oscar the Grouch, it's
It's
just
really true.
not a good way to live your life.
It's really true. And when we start looking for the good in other people, we find it. We really do. And bringing people together, I mean, the group energy that can be created when people start honoring somebody for their graduation and for their inner qualities, it's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, I mean, very, very rarely do people get compliments. Like in business, if no one calls me, that means there's no problems. No one's ever calling me up and saying like, "Hey, Josh, just want to tell you you're doing a great job."
Oh, well, I'm going to be sending you an honoring award in the mail. That's how I'm going to do that.
Yeah, but
I actually
today I did get a random call from someone that I worked with a few years ago. I worked with him, never heard back from him. I was like, okay, well, I hope it all worked out. He's like, hey, just wanted to tell you, like, I followed everything you told me to do, and my situation's so much better now. I just want to say thank you. And I was like, wow, this never happened. So thank you for the compliment. That was really nice. So it's like good to know because sometimes when you don't hear back from people, and I'm guilty of this, you think it's like, oh no, did I do something wrong?
Well, and people find that, it's like less than $5 for me to send one of these awards anonymously to somebody. People find what a great investment because it makes them feel so good knowing what a fun surprise it's going to be to actually get it in the mail in a pretty bright blue envelope, to know that they have to think about everyone who could have been so kind, all the different people that you've served and been kind and grateful to. Yeah, you're going to know it's from me, but if you didn't, it could have been from any of the people that you've been wonderful to. And when you don't know what one to send, people say, well, I don't know. Send a glorious gratitude award. That's my award that can go out to anyone at any time, no matter how well you know them, no matter how well you don't.
Are these
Not
something
everybody gets a certificate of sainthood award.
reminds me of something that could be like on social media, like where people like, hey, I just got this random gracious gratitude, you said?
Glorious gratitude.
Glorious gratitude. I just got this. I'm going to send it to someone. I guess it wouldn't be anonymous at that point, but that would be something cool to see rather than just, you see videos on social media like, hey, do you want this dollar? You want me to double it? Like a lot of things on social media are like money and more materialistic things rather than, touching people's hearts.
Well, and one of the things I do a lot is I go on the caregiver sites on Facebook and I post my honorary caregiver award. And I just say to all the caregivers out there, you're doing a great job. Big hugs and blessings. I know a ton of people are so grateful for you because otherwise all it really is people asking for advice. How do I cope? How do I cope? Help me with this challenge. Help me with that challenge. And it's wonderful. People will go on and say, this is how I would deal with that challenge. And yet to put that honoring award up there, I try to do it like once a week. It really speaks to people. People say, oh, I read that and it made me cry. And of course, seeing it posted on social media is one thing. When you get it in the mail with your name on it, it's a whole different depth to it.
Have you ever received one?
Yes, one of my friends, she's actually my massage therapist. I'm going into my Etsy shop and she ordered an award for somebody. How wonderful, and I'm getting ready to see who she sent it to. And she sent a loving kindness award to me.
Oh, so you didn't get the surprise though.
Adorable. She ordered it for me and paid for it.
That is a nice surprise.
It was truly.
Well, I guess it seems like the mission is to honor people, let people know that they are important and they are doing good work. And you don't have to do that just through compensation. you can do it with your words and your actions.
Yes, and people can they can make up their own cards, they can write poetry. I mean, there's a lot of different ways. People don't necessarily need to order my awards, even though they're fabulous, they're easy, they're fast, they're friendly, all that great stuff. You know, you can honor people in just about any way. And I really advocate for people honoring anonymously. Yes, it's nice in a group for sure. However, receiving something in the mail and you have to wonder who was so kind to send it to you is a really amazing experience. And until people experience it, they don't get it.
Yeah, I wonder some people who like need to know who it's from, like if they start calling everyone, like, "Hey, did you send me something? Hey, did you send me something?"
Well, and I go through that. People will guess me. Imagine that, right? People will call and say, "I got this loving kindness award or this childlike wonder award in the mail, and I bet it was you that sent it to me." And I'm really good at going, "Well, you know, I got something similar. Did it have a colored border? I got a lifelong learning award in the mail, you know?" And so I'm pretty good at deflecting. Doesn't always work, but because a lot of people now know what I do, but I've been able to deflect a lot over the years, and a lot of people do suspect me. But you know what? What a wonderful thing when somebody calls you up and says, "Hey, you know, I think it was you that sent me this wonderful, wonderful award." And I've just got a ton of them, and they're just so fun. People love them.
So when
Like Fantastic Father Forever, that's a good one. You know, Lovable Laughter's a great one. Musical Mastery. It's really fun when kids get that one and they call me because they always think it was their music teacher, which I think is so super cute, even when I know it was grandma.
So you have all the names of everyone that sends the cards and who they send it to?
I do. And sometimes, for example, if someone sends a caregiver award to somebody, I will wait a week and then I will send a certificate of sainthood award to that person for free, just to kind of rub it in. Because my certificate of sainthood award is really special too. And, you know, caregiving, man, it's really difficult and I have a lot of compassion for it. Usually it's family members and they just get so burned out because it's like being a parent, only harder. I mean, it's so consistently demanding, as you can understand, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Parent,
yeah. Well, you have a great message, you know, honor people, use words, let people know they're appreciated, and hopefully this continues to grow and, you know, for what, $5 you said?
Less than $5,
For
yeah.
less than $5, less than a Starbucks coffee, or
And that
you know,
includes mailing it, you know, and stamps are getting more and more expensive all the time, but I do send them in the mail with a little gift note. You can say it's from, you know, Uncle Henry or Grandma, or you can just have it sent anonymously. And I really advocate for that because that's where the childlike wonder and the thrilling surprise comes in.
yes, you have to keep your imagination alive because that's what makes things interesting is when you see something for the first time, you're so excited, then you see it for the 100th time, you're not so excited. So how do you keep that excitement alive?
The great mystery.
Great mystery. Well, for less than $5, everyone needs to go get one. I'm gonna definitely send one to someone and see how long I can keep it going. So we'll see everyone next time. Bye, everyone.